Italy's highest court has ruled a five-star Dolomites hotel was acting lawfully when it refused to provide tap water to a tourist. The woman unsuccessfully argued that water is a natural resource and a universal human right, after a waiter only offered her 7 LR66 bottled mineral water at the restaurant of the five-star Hotel Sazonga in Corvara during the 2019 ski season.
At least one person has been killed and 9 others are still missing after a major chemical explosion at a paper mill in Washington. Authorities said the explosion occurred at 07:15 PDT, 15:15 GMT, at the Nippon Dynawave packaging facility in Longview, 130 miles, 210 kilometers south of Seattle.
Green Bay Packers star running back Josh Jacobs was arrested on Tuesday on 5 charges, including 3 forms of domestic abuse, according to the Brown County Jail in Green Bay Police Department. Jacobs, 28, faces domestic abuse charges of battery, criminal damage to property and disorderly conduct, as well as intimidation as a victim and felony strangulation and suffocation. Argentina coach Lionel Scaloni said the initial news regarding superstar Lionel Messi's fitness is not that bad, and hopes further examinations will confirm that diagnosis. With the World Cup just 2 weeks away, Messi has been diagnosed with muscle fatigue in his left hamstring by his Major League Soccer MLS club Inter Miami after he made an abrupt exit from Miami's 6-4 victory over Philadelphia in the 73rd minute on Sunday.
An Israeli air attack has killed 2 people and injured another in the town of Deir Amos in the Tyre district, Lebanese state media reported, as the Israeli military expanded its operations across the war-battered country. The army also carried out several air raids in the town of Braikar in the south, destroying 2 homes, the national news agency NNA reported, as millions of people observed the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha on Wednesday.
Israel says it has killed Mohammed Odeh, the leader of Hamas's military wing in Gaza, in an airstrike in the northern part of the Strip. As a fragile ceasefire comes under growing strain, Israeli authorities said on Wednesday that Odeh was killed in an attack the previous day in Gaza City.
Muslim faithful took part in the climactic ritual of the annual Hajj pilgrimage on Wednesday, symbolically stoning the devil near Makkah. From dawn, crowds of pilgrims gathered in the valley of Mina, southeast of the holy city of Makkah, to throw pebbles at concrete pillars symbolizing the devil.
Britain and its allies risk losing a conflict in cyberspace against adversaries such as Russia unless citizens, corporations and governments treat cybersecurity with much greater urgency, a UK spy chief is warning. Anna Keast-Butler, director of the Communications Intelligence Agency GCHQ, will warn Wednesday that Moscow is relentlessly targeting critical infrastructure, democratic processes, supply chains and public trust in Britain and Europe. In a speech at a World War II code-breaking centre near London, she will accuse Russia of stealing technology and plotting sabotage and assassination attempts.
Taipei, Taiwan. For Li, an engineer at Taiwanese computer giant ASUS, the AI boom sweeping Taiwan has made it an exciting time to work in tech. Taiwan is a semiconductor powerhouse, producing about 90% of the most advanced chips used to power leading AI models such as ChatGPT and Claude. Goma, Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Congolese authorities have suspended all flights to and from Bunia in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo in an attempt to contain an Ebola outbreak. The decision was taken by the Ministry of Transport and Communications, which has banned all air traffic in and out of Bunia, the capital of Ituri province, where the virus continues to spread.
WeRoad, the Milan-based group travel startup, has raised a $58 million Series C round led by Airbnb as it prepares for its first major expansion outside Europe. The funding brings the company's total capital raised to roughly $100 million and will finance WeRoad's push into the US, beginning with Austin. The new investment reflects a bet that the next generation of travel companies may look less like booking platforms and more like social platforms designed to facilitate real-world connections.
A brief exchange on X between an Emirati academic and an Israeli businessman has gone viral after a sharply worded response that the United Arab Emirates had surrendered to Iran. Emirati academic Abdul Khalek Abdullah posted that the UAE was taking cautious and calculated steps to reduce tensions with Iran.
Muslims across the world celebrated Eid al-Azha, also known as the Feast of the Sacrifice. On Wednesday, celebrated on the 10th of Zilhaj, Eid al-Azha marks the culmination of Hajj, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It marks the end of the Hajj and commemorates Prophet Ibrahim's readiness to sacrifice his son to show obedience to Allah.
The UK is at a moment of consequence as Russia is relentlessly targeting critical infrastructure. The UK's largest spy agency will warn. GCHQ Director Anne Keese-Butler will set out threats facing the UK and the measures she believes need to be taken to confront them when she makes her inaugural public speech on Wednesday.
Gaza City. In her tent, where she has spent much of Israel's genocidal war on Gaza, 68-year-old Itaidel Hamdan prepares for her 3rd consecutive Eid al-Adha away different. She had hoped to fulfill a lifelong dream of performing Hajj, one of the 5 obligatory pillars of Islam, with her husband. But she has no chance of leaving Gaza, and Hazvad 67 was killed in an Israeli strike last year. Tehran, Iran. The fundamental principle is distrust towards America. This is how senior lawmaker Abbas Moqtadi described the situation to state television on Tuesday afternoon. It came after an Iranian delegation, led by Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, returned to Tehran from Qatar amid efforts to reach an understanding with the United States on ending the nearly 3-month-long war on the country.
Israeli attacks across southern Lebanon killed at least 31 people and wounded 40 others on Tuesday, as Israeli forces intensified strikes and issued dozens of displacement orders for towns and villages in the country's south and east. Panic spread across southern Lebanon as residents fled the escalating assault, with Israeli ground pushing deeper into Lebanese territory amid fears of a wider offensive.
European Union agriculture ministers are meeting in Brussels to discuss the availability of fertiliser as the war on Iran disrupts global supply chains. The talks come as the European Commission pushes a new fertiliser action plan aimed at supporting farmers who face a significant rise in costs for fertilisers. It is hoped the measures could boost agricultural food imports and reduce Europe's dependence on food imports.
Pro-Israel US Senator Lindsey Graham on Wednesday demanded that Pakistan stop mediating US-Iran talks to end the war and wants Islamabad to respond to Donald Trump's stance on the Abraham Accords. In his post, Graham described Pakistan's role as a mediator as problematic and pointed to the country's long-standing hostility toward Israel. Deputy Prime Ministers and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, who is on a 2-day visit to New York, met United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, with both sides discussing the situation in the Middle East. The Foreign Office, FO, said on Wednesday DPM Dar arrived in New York a day earlier. Immensely popular in Nepal and neighbouring India, momos are steamed dumplings, traditionally made with minced chicken or lamb, and are as versatile as they are delicious. Served along with achars, pickles and chutneys, samoos make for great street food, but can also be added to a spicy soup jahol momos for a nourishing meal, while one can find all kinds of momos on the trendy food streets of Nazimabad, Karachi. It's absent from the rest of the country's foodscape, which is particularly surprising given the craze for Korean steamed buns a couple of years ago. Momos, with their spicy fillings and chat patta sauces, seem like Bao's natural heir, the next food obsession waiting in the wings. Israel said on Wednesday it had killed the new head of Hamas's armed wing in Gaza, Mohammed Odeh, in a strike the day before, after killing his predecessor in a similar attack this month. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz claimed the commander of the armed wing of the Hamas terrorist organization in Gaza was eliminated yesterday.
A Chinese dissident has made a daring 30-hour escape from China by sea to South Korea. His fourth attempt to try and flee authorities in his homeland and reunite with his family who have been granted asylum in Canada. Dong Guangping, a former police officer who has faced years of imprisonment and detention for his activism, fled using an inflatable boat and was picked up by South Korean Coast Guard on Monday. His lawyer and a fellow activist told CNN.
Meerut, India. The mood is barely festive as a group of Muslim men huddle inside a small mosque to discuss the arrangements for Eid al-Adha prayers in Meerut district of India's Uttar Pradesh state. Ceiling fans hum above to beat the brutal North Indian heat as nearly 50 worshippers listen to the members of the Mosque Management Committee in Maliana village, about 80 kilometres, the Navishti miles, to Mairiti, 50 miles from New Delhi, the national capital.
A chemical tank imploded and ruptured at a Nippon Dynawave packaging facility in the US state of Washington on Tuesday, resulting in 1 death and 9 injuries. While 9 others remained unaccounted for as of Tuesday night, authorities said a joint written statement with Nippon and the Cowlitz County Sheriff's Department said a tank containing white liquor, a chemical solution of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide used in making paper pulp, had ruptured around 7:15 a.m. local time, 14:15 T. Is there finally a deal to end the Iran war? Not even close. As the world awaited Washington's approval of a framework that Tehran reportedly agreed upon to de-escalate tensions, US President Donald Trump cautioned negotiators not to rush into a deal with Iran, a deal that could potentially lead to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and a comprehensive peace plan. Hours after Iranian negotiators arrived in Qatar for discussions aimed at ending the war, American forces struck Iran's southern port of Bandar Abbas, claiming they were acting in self-defense. This latest escalation by the US has coincided with intensified attacks by Israel on Lebanon. The close link between these two conflicts complicates negotiators' efforts to reach a peace deal. It appears that Trump is acting under pressure from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and some of his closest Republican allies in the Senate and beyond. The top military leadership on Wednesday extended Eid al-Adha greetings to the nation and paid tribute to the sacrifices of martyrs and security personnel serving the country. According to a statement issued by Inter-Services Public Relations, Chief of Defense Forces and Chief of the Army Staff Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir, Chief of the Naval Staff Admiral Naveed Ashraf, and Chief of the Air Staff Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmed Baba Sidhu conveyed heartfelt felicitations to the people of Pakistan on the occasion of Eid al-Adha. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, boosted by President Donald Trump's endorsement, has defeated 4-term U.S. Senator primary runoff, according to U.S. media projections. The result, quickly called by Fox News and CNN after polls closed on Tuesday, highlighted Trump's continuing influence over the Republican Party and dealt a major pre-blow to the party establishment in Washington, D.C.
Karachi. Pakistan plans to boost domestic storage for crude oil and refined products to increase its energy security, according to a government document that was shared with oil producers and some of the world's leading trading firms, despite depending on supplies through the Strait of Hormuz for up to 90% of its oil and liquefied natural gas imports. Pakistan has no strategic petroleum reserve.
Pakistan's cotton sector has once again entered the season with ambitious official targets and deep uncertainty on the ground. The Federal Committee on Agriculture has set a production target of 64 million bales for the 2026 to 27 crop to be cultivated on 5.33 million acres. But growers, ginners and textile players remain divided over whether the country can even come close to achieving that figure. The scepticism is understandable. Last season, Pakistan produced only around 5.6 metre bales against a target of 10.2 metre bales, one of the sharpest shortfalls in recent history. Over the years, cotton acreage has steadily shrunk. Yields have stagnated, and the country has increasingly relied on imports to keep its textile industry running.